Texas is one of the best states in the country. Texas is famous for their love of football, having some of the greatest food in the country, business opportunities galore, and they don't have a state income tax. But the state of Texas is so much more than that. Today, we're going to learn more about Texas and stick around for more info on where you may want to visit or move at the end of the video. Texas has easily been the state with the most people moving there recently. Texans have a good thing going, and many people want to be a part of it. You will see more Texan flags if you visit this state than any other state in the country. I don't have data on that, it's just a fact. Texans are proud of the fact that they have created the most jobs year over year because of the fantastic business climate they've established. The median household income in Texas is $67,000. And what helps citizens here too is there is no state income tax. So earned income in Texas is just federally taxed. The median home price in Texas is $379,000, and the property taxes are where you pay the bulk of your taxes here. Texas is almost 80% higher than the nation's average in terms of property taxes. The troubling thing is property values are skyrocketing here, making property taxes even worse. And it's making it less affordable here very swiftly. To make things worse, in most if not all of the heavily populated counties, they are actually above 2%. Many cities and counties have freezes on increases for certain groups, like veterans, retirees, or public employees. So be aware of that if you fit into one of those categories. The violent crime rate in Texas is just slightly above average, and the property crime rate is also just above average as well. The important thing to know is that many of Texas's biggest cities, like anywhere, have areas you will want to avoid to be safer. But don't think just because a town is small that it's safe here. Some border towns are dangerous and have lots of problems with gangs and drugs, and others are safe, peaceful communities. So do your due diligence on where you'd consider here, and I'll help you guys out a little bit more toward the end of the video. Texas is viewed as politically conservative, but with the influx of out-of-staters moving there, it has gone from a 23% margin when former Texas Governor George Bush won his second term in 2004, to Trump carrying the state with just about a 5.5% margin in 2020. Keep in mind that 46% of the state voted for Joe Biden, and Trump won 52% of the state. I'm not sure what the political outlook is in this state, but you can bet it will be one of the most coveted states in every election moving forward. Texas is actually a very diverse state. The population is just under 43% white, just under 39% Hispanic, more than 11.5% black, 4.5% Asian, 0.2% of residents are Native American, 0.1% of residents are Hawaiian or Pacific Islander, and 1.6% of residents are two or more races. Texas cities are among some of the most diverse in the entire country. Hispanic residents are the majority race in Houston, Dallas, San Antonio, and El Paso, while white residents are the majority race in both Austin and in Fort Worth. But for context, Asian representation is higher in Houston and Austin, and Dallas and Houston have the highest black populations. There are plenty of places where you can experience different cultures across this state. That's one of the reasons it's very popular. Texas is a big state, and to go over the state's weather conditions in too much detail is probably not productive. On average, Texas will get little to no snow in most places, a bit less rain than the national average, and a month's more sunshine on average. In the summer, it will get warm here, and in certain areas, you can easily expect humidity to accompany the heat. And in the winter, it doesn't get too cold here. We'll talk more about the specific conditions in key areas too. Here in Texas, this has got to be one of the most entertaining places in the country. I'll post several links in the description to help you out here too. because Texas is overrun with great things to do. Every major city here has a great food scene, and they all specialize in different cuisines, like soul food, barbecue, Mexican, Tex-Mex, street food, and more. Walking into the food area in Texas's State Fair has got to be one of the most wonderfully overwhelming feelings I've had in my entire life. Texas has a great music scene in many of their major cities, and is likely to still get your favorite artists to come through the area. But sports dominate the scene here. There are 3 NBA teams, 2 NFL teams, 2 Major League Baseball teams, including the first-time world champion Texas Rangers, and more. High school football is a way of life in the state. From big cities to small towns, Friday night lights absolutely dominate the state. When it comes to outdoor adventure, Texas is not known for this. The eastern part of the state is basically flat, but there are many lakes, rivers, and beaches along the Gulf. As you head to the center of the state, the Texas Hill Country around San Antonio and Austin have beautiful spots to check out. And way out west, you have Big Bend and Guadalupe National Park. They are really remote from the rest of the state though. Texas is full of amusement and water parks, especially in San Antonio. You'll appreciate having the ability to visit here year-round as well in most places. I always point out my favorite, which is Morgan's Wonderland in San Antonio, Texas, which is the world's first ultra-accessible family fun park. If you have anyone with special needs or requires physical assistance getting around, this place is the destination in the country, and it's very affordable too. Now, let's talk a little more about each of the areas here to help you decide where you may want to visit or potentially move to. In Texas, all of the big counties are liberal, except for Tarrant County where Fort Worth is located, but it's basically 50-50 here at that point. Houston specializes in aerospace, defense, and the oil industry. It is unfortunately the least safe of all these big cities in 2 major ways: the crime rate and natural disasters. Hurricanes can and do hit the Gulf side of Texas, and while this space isn't hit as frequently as a place like Florida, hurricanes do hit here. Hurricane Harvey comes to mind when I think of this area. Here in Houston, the city itself isn't the most popular, but don't sleep on their suburbs. They're known for having some great places outside of town. The Dallas-Fort Worth area is much safer than Houston, especially the Fort Worth side. Fort Worth's housing is about the same as Houston, but Dallas is more expensive. Both Houston and Dallas are very diverse, but Houston gets substantially more rain there. In the Metroplex, tornadoes are more common, and it's one of the places with the fastest growing job markets and fastest growing cities as well. El Paso has a population that is 80% Hispanic, ironically making it the least diverse city we'll be discussing today. El Paso is a border town that has a bit of an interesting history with neighboring Ciudad Juarez. Probably didn't pronounce that right, but just have grace on me, okay? Their median income is among the lowest of the largest cities in Texas, but it is by far the least expensive large city in Texas. The great thing is, the crime rate is actually really low here. It can't be said often that the least violent city has the least expensive housing. El Paso County is the second most liberal county in Texas, second to our next city, Austin. Austin is the capital city, and they are known for being the home of the University of Texas, having great food, and for being one of the most attractive places for relocating businesses. Austin is also safer, like Fort Worth and El Paso, but is bigger than those places. The median income here is above the national average, but the problem is their median home prices are more than double El Paso, and Austin is the most expensive large city in Texas by hundreds of thousands of dollars. This used to be a place where college students and politicians wanted to be, but it has attracted excellent business opportunities now too. If you are interested in living in a smaller town, places like Abilene, Amarillo, Midland, and San Angelo have certain appeals to them. They are more conservative for those who are shocked that all the cities in Texas are liberal. You didn't think we'd leave out San Antonio, did you? San Antonio is a drier climate with less rain than Dallas or Houston. The winters are warm, sunny, and will make you want to move here. But the summer can be brutally hot. San Antonio, San Diego, and Jacksonville are among the biggest cities in America with a heavy military presence. They have the best amusement parks in the state, a lot of culture and history, and is rightfully described as a big city with small town feel. No wonder why it is the most visited city in the state of Texas. I'd love to hear where in Texas you'd be interested in moving to or visiting. If you want to learn more about Texas or somewhere else, click on one of my videos playing below. Thank you so much for watching, and take care.